Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 29th, 2024, Season 3, Episode 242. Yeah, this is kind of a time machine episode. I am in the time machine, but, well, I just couldn't do the show yesterday. So today we're going to be talking about full body MRI scans, boomer land sold without knowledge, fake QR codes on parking meters, Monkehs name each other, just like we do. The best and worst diamond certified songs. I have a typo in my title. Children's books hate cars. Tiny backyard ninja bug. Wet CyberStuck catches fire. Community Led Distillery. Deep sea oxygen generation continued. I am Mayor Watt, and the sentient AI is not available for this episode, but tonight's episode for August 30th, 2024, in a couple of hours after this show. Yep, the sentient AI will be there. That said, everything's powered by ohmtown.com, and I hope my transition works, but we'll see. All right, folks, let's get into today's articles. The very first one is in Technology Today. Inside the controversial world of full body health scans, we tested a VC-backed MRI service. Not we, but Geek World. Who is it? I forgot the name of the source. Doggone it. GeekWire. That's right. So I thought it was GeekWire. Anyway, Ezra uses AI to produce detailed reports following MRI scans. The yellow coloring indicates a non-urgent follow-up, and this is basically the caption under the image that you're going to see. There's a recent trend in venture-backed startups offering full-body MRI scans, promising to help consumers detect potential signs of cancer by paying upwards of $2,500 and laying in a high-tech tube for an hour. This poses a problem for some, but others not so much. Let me do something else real quick. Let me get a little non-sequitur-y. If you want to get today's show notes, you can hit !NSN over in Twitch, and that should wake up the... Okay, Omatron's not working. Come on, what are you doing, Omatron? What are you doing, Omatron? Okay, well, I'll have to fix that elsewhere. What in the world are you doing? You should be all logged in. Let's try this one more time. Oh no. Okay, well, I won't be able to fix this here, but we'll fix it in the show notes, and they'll be posted over on YouTube for sure. Sorry about that. I didn't check the bot before the show. So anyway, I'll try one more time. Nope. Ugh. How about show notes? Okay, well, anyway, you can actually hit !NSN. I'll fix it before the next show, and you can hit !show notes, and that will give you all of the show notes and the syntax for all of the shows. We have 7. One of them is a daily. The Non Sequitur News Show is a daily show, and 6 others are weekly shows, which are starting. The newest episode is going to be 3 of them is tomorrow, and then another 3 on Sunday. Anyway, wow, production value, Mayor Watt. Come on, pick up your game. So what's really interesting about this is insurance typically doesn't cover this. You don't have the ability to go to appeal to your insurance company and say, hey, you know, I I don't know, I have cancer, and it's already been diagnosed, and can we do an MRI scan and see if there's anything somewhere else? I've been sick off and on and have this and that and other kind of treatments. They've been giving me medication, whatever. You don't have the ability to go to your insurance and they'll pay for it. Most people's insurance won't pay for it. But a high resolution MRI can detect a holistic, or it can gather a holistic understanding of what your general health is in the physical sense, not in the biochemistry sense, because it doesn't know for anything what's going on in your blood. But it can detect inconsistent soft tissue issues. So I don't quite understand why, other than the profit motive behind insurance, facilitating profiteering off of health, where people don't have any bargaining power, yet they're stuck. They have to abide by what the insurance says. Why? Well, like I said, we don't have bargaining power. And companies that represent us for our health purposes, health insurance, they're not really apt to promote it, because while they want people working, they don't want their premiums to go up. So when somebody gets sick, their premiums go up. I think now everything works. Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. Show notes, everything. So thanks for being patient. Anyway, celebrities such as Kim Kardashian and other online influencers tout the benefits of these companies. One of the startups, Prenuvo, says that 1 in 20 scans result in potentially life-saving diagnoses. But I don't care about the 1 in 20 potentially life-saving diagnosis. Situational awareness, status, knowing that you are healthy because you don't have a mass somewhere or some other malady detected, that is just as important as catching something early. Why? Because when you do this regularly, essentially you're living your life the right way and you don't have any issues that are going in the wrong direction. And most of health related issues, I would say, aren't caused by the person themselves. I know people who chain smoked and they're still healthy to this day, and they're 85 years old, for crying out loud. Do they have other age-related issues? Yeah, but it isn't because of the cigarettes. I know people who are functional alcoholics, and they seem to be impervious, like they're pickled or something. I don't know. But then there are people that are amazing human beings, and never said an ill word towards anyone, and they are perpetually burdened by something like cancer. So this, I think, should be part and parcel to a holistic understanding of a human being, and all insurance should pay for this. Just like I think that all insurance should cover weight loss medications, because a healthier, social body, right? The mass of society means that everybody is better off, but it lowers the profit margin. So anyway, before I spend too long on this, which is probably already, the article's over at GeekWire. Taylor Soper is the author of this, and they say that they went through the scan process with Ezra, a New York-based startup founded in 2018. The company in February raised $21 million in an investment round led by Amir Dan Rubin, the former CEO of Amazon-owned primary care provider One Medical. Ezra recently launched 2 locations in the Seattle region, which is how it ends up on GeekWire's radar. because they focus in the northwest region of, everything. Anyway, Ezra charges between $1,350 and $2,500, so $1,350 to $2,500 for each scan, depending on how many body parts are examined. They did the full body 60-minute scan that looks at the head, neck, spine, abdomen, pelvis. The cost is not covered by insurance, as I mentioned already. Customers can use their FSA, HSA accounts, which is basically a set aside from your actual paychecks, go into these healthcare, health related super funds. It's like a slush fund that you can use for anything health related. Ezra covered the cost of their scan for the purposes of testing and reviewing the technology for the story. So they're upfront about how this all worked. So something went on. So what they say here, yellow indicates a non-urgent follow-up. So maybe they have something going on with their head and with their digestive system. What they say, you'd have to look at the report. So in the pelvis, it says, this is their report, right? So I'm just reading this one little bit. Heterogeneous low signal throughout the bone marrow. This may be due to some issue, but they don't have it. You'd have to read it in greater detail. And then there's a deformity of their T9, which is why they ended up with another yellow. So, and there's a numerical value. So 4 is an urgent follow-up. 3 is a non-urgent follow-up. 2 is categorized as monitored advising. 1 means no follow-up. And 5 means they're surprised that you ended up even surviving the scan. No, just kidding. I'm sorry. The 5 means emergency action. It's pretty simple, right? But it takes an hour and it's $3,500. But you could do this, once every 2 years. And if you're all green, maybe scale it, right? Like a colonoscopy, or there's a thing called Cologuard that if you're green at one time, you can wait 5 years. And if you're over 50, then they sometimes go, you know what? Yeah. Like they found my watch. I had lost that during a skiing accident, and they said that I should come back and have it removed. Anyway, let's move on. The next article is over in the Non Sequitur News article. A boomer who bought land 25 years ago thought he was set for retirement. Then someone sold it without him knowing. In 1999, William Gordon bought a lot in Arizona, planning to build a home where he could retire. But in March 2023, Gordon found out the lot was sold for $200,000 by a complete stranger. Gordon had to fight to get his land back as real estate scams become more commonplace. My problem with this is who facilitated this, because it doesn't make one whit of sense. You have to get your transactions certified. You have to have somebody sign a document, and somebody has to prove that you are who you say you are. And it isn't something that's purely electronic. So I'm just not sure why this is taking place anymore, or ever had. I mean, back in the day, somebody could steal land, but for crying out loud, in the 21st century. So this article by Jordan Pandy over at BusinessInsider.com says more than $145 million was reported lost in real estate scams in 2023 alone, which is nothing compared to breaches in cryptocurrency fraud and breaches. But this would fly under the radar forever until somebody goes and checks. In March 2023, Gordon found out that the lot had been sold. And I'm really curious. It was a 3 1/3 acre property in 1999. That was purchased for $76,500. He was paying regular mortgage payments on the land and had about $9,000 left to pay on the loan when he got the letter telling him that it had been sold. quite fascinating. 9,521 people in 2023 reported losing more than $145 million from real estate scams. Referred to as home title theft, a crime where someone steals a homeowner's identity to take ownership of property, leaves property owners like Gordon without many options for quick reconciliation, and it's happening with greater regularity in recent years. In Gordon's case, he was pulled in many directions over countless phone calls and had a hard time getting a straight answer about how to move forward. The county said all you have to do is undo this, which is kind of like paint the rest of the frickin' owl kind of thing. The county and nobody seemed to know how to undo it. And then they had to trace how a stranger sold his retirement land. I'm not quite sure why they would refer to it as retirement land again and again, but it is what it is. It is his retirement land after all. So Gordon lives in Phoenix, but the warranty deed recorded by the county, which Business Insider reviewed, had Arizona and Pima crossed out and replaced by Texas and Bexar, a county almost 900 miles from Tucson. It's unclear who impersonated Gordon, but the notary, that's the problem here. The notary stamp gave the name Penny Davis of Texas, and they should be held professionally accountable, if not fiscally responsible. And let's see if I can scan this real quick. And the Pima County Recorder's Office told Gordon that it had records, records documents but doesn't verify them, he said, and it sent him back to the title company. So right there is a problem. Not enough checks. Try that in a small town. Crap. So the recorder told Business Insider in 2023 that she wasn't sure why the title company referred Gordon to her, saying the recorder's office is essentially a library. We rely on title companies, on notaries, which is why they're required to have insurance, because it's ultimately up to those companies to have the safeguards to ensure that they're dealing with the correct property. Correct. And you basically file it with the county recorder so that if anybody wonders about X, Y, and Z plot of land, they can say, this is the person that owns it. It says First American Financial did not respond to multiple requests for comment from Business Insider either. So basically they get the runaround, and they rely on the evidence that is within the system already, which can be compromised by fraud. And when there isn't enough checks and balances, or somebody within the system is complicit, you end up with this. So it's quite unsettling. I won't be able to go through all of this paragraph by paragraph, but this is not the first time. It won't be the last time, but there really should be services out there that are much more reliable than what is presented here. And the notary, I think, is the one that would be should be ultimately responsible for this, verifying without a doubt the person that's should be standing in front of them. You're supposed to sign stuff with wet ink and not just hold it up to a camera. And, there's just something wrong with this. So this just pisses me off because anybody can be, if you own property, you could be a victim of this. But let's keep moving. The next article is over on 4Wheel Tech. Scammers are using fake QR codes on parking meters to steal your card info. So trust but verify, folks. Logan Carter over at jalopnik.com put this article together. The new scam is hard to detect and it's pretty smart. Why? Well, it's just a QR code and it can run basically a proxy. Ever since the advent of the internet, there have been a litany of new and creative ways for folks to scam the crap out of blissfully ignorant citizens. The latest scam tactic is basically like a skimmer. Scammers in Southern California are placing their own QR codes over the legit ones used by cities to allow folks to pay for parking. Some regions use a mobile payment system for paid parking via companies like Pay by Phone, Park Mobile. But if you are about to pay for parking with a QR code, there are ways to spot the scam. First, if it takes you to a website and it's not using the actual app, I think should be a key factor. But let's see. These fake codes are glued next to the real parking labels, making them incredibly convincing. they send users to sites with a URL that's alarmingly close to the URLs that you would normally pay for. But you really should be using the app. You shouldn't be using a website because of that level of fraud capability. And if it sends you to a fake app or one that is confusingly similar to the app that you are expecting, you should notify the App Store that there is something hinky going on, and it would have been caught. I can imagine it would be caught, but yeah, so never just quote unquote punch in the URL. Yeah, that's absolutely insane. So I'll nip this in the bud. This is a trust but verify issue. If it sends you to a URL from your QR code scan, you got a problem right there. Just close the browser. Don't confirm anything. Don't click on anything from that point on. Open up the app that is commensurate with what you should be expecting, which is typically Pay by Phone or Park Mobile, and use that. And if there's something odd about what you are looking at, then go to the App Store and look. Does it look fake? Is there something hinky about it? And if there is, I would probably leave my car there, go do whatever I need to do, notify the police that something hinky's going on, and they'll come and investigate that. And if they don't, then you basically have an out for any ticket. Like, hey, look, this was not trustworthy enough for me to utilize the service that's posted there. And you've read about this, that, and the other. You can fight the ticket easily. I know it's going to be time consuming, but the dynamic has to change. We can't just let stuff like this happen. Security isn't somebody else's issue, as you can tell. If you rely on just the doctor or just your insurance telling you what you're allowed to have, then you're going to end up at the whim of somebody's profit margin. If you allow for somebody to, when you purchase something like land and you never check on it for 23 of the 25 years you've owned it, or should be owning it. 25 years. They owned it for 25 years and they didn't know that somebody sold it until somebody else notified them that it had been sold. You got to make sure that everything stays in your realm, your understanding, your what do you want to call it? Situational awareness stays under your awareness. And when you assume too long, this is what ends up happening. They start posting stuff like this and you end up getting compromised. So just don't trust it. Be aware of what is normally there. That's how I caught a skimmer. Actually, I've caught several now, but they're actually very, very popular. But let's keep on moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Marmoset monkeys give each other names just like humans do, apparently. This discovery highlights the complexity of social communication among marmosets. I've always wanted a marmoset, but I do not want a wild animal. So, yeah, I just respect the wildlife too much to sit there and say, I want a marmoset in my house. Anyway, marmoset monkeys give each other's names. Jess Thompson over at Newsweek.com put this article together, and it says this discovery places monkeys among the scant rank. That's such a weird phrase, scant rank. Among the scant ranks of species known to use names, which until now only includes humans, dolphins, and elephants. And I think whales do now, or at least they communicate in a way that seems to identify individuals. If I recall, I think we did a show about that. According to the paper, researchers made the discovery by recording the vocal interactions of the marmosets in pairs and a marmoset conversing with a computer. They found that these fee calls were used only when talking to another individual marmoset and different between individuals, indicating that they were a form of a name. So I wonder if they actually used the same fee call to a very specific marmoset. Quote, we found that marmoset monkeys use fee calls to vocally label their conspecifics, distinguish between fee calls that were directed at them as opposed to non-directed calls, and can respond correctly to the caller's identity. These could not be explained by a variation in calls between sessions, the researchers wrote. So they call each other by a very specific name. That's awesome. Is that marmoset wearing a necklace? In this picture, I think it's wearing a necklace with a brooch. All right. That's fine. So the researchers also discovered that the marmosets appeared to use similar labels within family groups, even if the individual was not a blood relative, but was present with the family. This suggests that they have a form of dialect, and the vocal labels are learned from other members of the group. Okay, that's just awesome. Yeah, I firmly believe that we just don't understand. There's a language, and we just don't understand. I'm at the point where I even think that cats and other animals, of course, sub-vocalize at a level that humans just don't hear. And I don't know if anybody's ever done research to see if we can pick it up, because you may not be able to pull it from the din of background noise of everyday existence with, pets. So the vocal labeling of others that we report, or that's the scientists, represents a learned, highly flexible call production that requires brain mechanisms for representations of others as discrete concepts, vocal learning, imitation, and modification of the acoustic fine structure of calls. Essentially, they learn how to talk from others in their social group, just like humans do. All right, let's keep moving though. Next article is over in non-sequitur news as well. It actually could be over in the continuity report because it's about entertainment. But the 11 best and 11 worst songs that have been certified diamond, and there are over 150 songs that have been certified diamond by the RIAA, the Recording Institute of America, or Association. Sorry, it's a Recording Industry Association of America. I don't know why I fumbled that, because I've had to pay various places for their music. And RIAA is just one of the small list that control all music. Anyway, diamond is the highest award bestowed by the RIAA, reserved for songs that go 10 times platinum by the US. By definition, in order to be eligible, a song must have tremendous commercial appeal, but not all hits are equal. And it's an opinion piece by Callie Algram over at businessinsider.com. And let's see here. The list includes a vast range of quality, from Bohemian Rhapsody to Baby Shark, and that's simply because it was massively viral. Baby Shark, do. It says below are their picks for best and worst, each batch listed in chronological order of certification. And I will not go through this whole thing, just saying. Bad Romance by Lady Gaga is a perfect pop song, according to this. At the end of the aughts, Lady Gaga was the jolt of eccentric, unapologetic, unforgettable energy that top 40 radio needed, even if some people, and they say 13-year-old me, not me, didn't quite get it yet. So over time, many of Lady Gaga's hit singles have been rightly exalted as the stuff of pop genius. This is especially true of Bad Romance, which became the 4th song in history to be certified diamond in 2015. So there's 150 songs that have been certified diamond by the RIAA. And Bad Romance is the 4th song in history to be certified diamond, and that was only roughly 10 years ago. Oh, wow. All right, so they've basically doled out somewhere between 10 and 15 a year since then. Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. Lords Royals inspired hordes of alt-pop copycats. Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh, well, wait. If that's the 4th up there, and they're in order of delivery, so wow. All right. Okay. Well, I won't go through them all. I'll let you all go through them. Let's see if I can find the break where it goes bad. Because I think that there's 11 of each. Oh my goodness. I did not want to see that scroll past my eyes. I Got a Feeling by the Black Eyed Peas has been overplayed to death. Every popular, I mean, it's popular. Of course it's going to be overused. There's a lot of them that are overused. Florida Georgia Line is a predictable earworm that doesn't measure up to other country hits. That's Cruise. All right. Baby Shark has no business being diamond certified. True. Oh God, that's just horrible. All right. Well, anyway, go and check it all out. Moves Like Jagger. Extension Sad doesn't deserve its popularity. Girls Like You by Maroon 5 feels both corny and insincere. Sheesh. Brutal. All right. Y'all can go and take a look. Then come back because I really want to start up Mix War, which is supposed to be a show about making music and then rating it. And it's a competition and people get prizes. But the rights management for that has posed a problem. So I've just kind of been noodling around how to make that work. Most of the time I can't record it, which kind of does away with the purpose of the show. I mean, I can do it live and that's half the purpose, but the VOD and people being able to listen to it and come back and talk and vote and all of that kind of stuff, that's part of it. So I would really love to do that. Anyway, children's book to blame for fire inside a car is the next article. The article is over at autoblog.com and it's from the Associated Press, but autoblog.com is hosting it. The book contained a button battery that was likely lithium and it probably overheated. And from that point on, it's a done deal. The child's car seat was set ablaze with a button battery, and a children's book caught fire after being left in the vehicle on Sunday, according to George Hildebrand Fire and Rescue Department. The family had left the car before the fire started. I really doubt that would have, if it wasn't sitting in direct sunlight, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't have happened, but I guess maybe the article will talk about it some more. A neighbor eventually put the fire out with a garden hose. After the fire was put out, the fire marshal office was called to the scene. They have a bunch of kind of convoluted quotes here. My initial thought about it is, what if it did happen? Because I would be without a daughter and a wife if it did happen with them in the car. Kind of buried the lead of that statement there, bub. The girl's father, Presley Williams, told WBTV. Yeah. Kind of sucks. Got to be aware of that kind of stuff. Don't leave any electronics directly in the sun in your car. One of the several books near the scorched car seat was suspected of having a lithium battery, which are susceptible to catching fire if they overheat, according to Burke County Fire Marshal's office. Which, yeah, if it was just sitting there and baking away, and it probably popped, and once it has lithium touches air, you're in trouble. It'll run away. So the next article is over in the Mobile Channel. This tiny backyard bug does the fastest backflips on Earth. And I'm just going to jump straight on over to the source. North Carolina State University, phys.org, put the article together. It's a globular springtail that's jumping. That's what that picture is. So in the blink of an eye, new study finds the first in-depth look at its jumping prowess. Globular springtails are tiny, usually only a couple millimeters in body length. They don't fly, bite, or sting, but they can jump. In fact, jumping is their go-to and only plan for avoiding predators, and they excel at it. To the naked eye, it seems as though they vanish entirely when they take off. When globular springtails jump, they don't just leap up and down, they flip through the air. It's the closest you can get to Sonic the Hedgehog jump in real life, says Adrian Smith, research assistant professor of biology at North Carolina State University and head of the Evolutionary Biology and Behavior Research Lab at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. Quote, so naturally, I wanted to see how they do it. So the work appears in Integrative Organismal Biology? Really? Smith is the corresponding author. So they jump so fast in real time that you can't see them. And if you try to film the jump with a regular camera, the springtail will appear in one frame, then vanish. When you look at the picture closely, you can see a faint vapor trail, curlicues left behind, where it flipped through one frame. So yeah, you can get a high-speed camera. What is it? Who is it? The slow-mo guys or something like that on YouTube? Give them some credit. Go get them, and they'll make a whole show about it. Smith solved the problem by using cameras that shoot 40,000 frames per second. He urged the springtails to jump by shining a light on them or prodding them with an artist's paintbrush. Poke, poke. I would jump too. So insanely fast. It only takes a globular springtail 1,000th of a second to backflip off the ground, and they can reach a peak rate of 368 rotations per second. They accelerate their bodies into a jump at about the rate of a flea, but on top of that, they spin. No other animal on Earth does a backflip faster than a globular springtail. It's pretty cool. All right, let's keep moving. Unlike this wet Cybertruck that catches fire after hitting a fire hydrant, did these things even run? So Tesla's flagship Cybertruck electric pickup does not like water. We've known about that. I was just about to say being bricked going into a car wash, got stranded on banks of a small European lake, and now Cybertruck has burst into flames after hitting a fire hydrant that drenched its battery pack. I saw two sitting on the side of the road during the rain outside of ohmTown. Nobody in ohmTown would ever drive a Cybertruck. Well, anyway, there's video of it by Owen Bellwood. Well, the article's by Owen Bellwood. It's over at jalopnik.com. The Cybertruck ignited outside a Bass Pro Shop in Texas after its battery pack got wet following a crash with a fire hydrant. There's a video of it. Somebody recorded. It's posted over at Reddit. Yeah, pretty wild. So people drive by and they record that the battery pack apparently caught fire. Assistant Fire Chief Ruben Balboa with the Harlington Fire Department said the Cybertruck's battery ignited after water from the fire hydrant soaked it. The battery compartment's not even water resistant, apparently. First responders say that they had extinguished the flames coming from the Cybertruck, but shortly after stopping the water flow onto the battery, the fire began again. Yeah, no shit. Authorities have not disclosed any injuries resulting from the accident, only that a Cybertruck was involved, and video of it was posted on Reddit. Supposedly, apparently before the fire crew showed up. And we know about the Tesla Semi that caught fire last week, basically shutting down the place for something like 15 hours. And all kinds of lithium, well, whatever runoff from the doomed CyberStuck flowed into the valley behind the truck because it crashed into a tree or something like that. I don't know. And this thing is on the road. None of these are tested. None of these have passed any type of verification that they're safe, that they're reliable, nothing. No, they're not crash tested. NHTSA is not doing anything. And I think it sucks that these pieces. And anyway, I'll keep moving. So the next article is over in Distillerist, which is a show that's all about distilled spirits, but this is a show that I want to bring online as well, but I'm not much of a drinker, so not anymore at least. Anyway, former bank hall and widow Jane distiller Vince Olson is hoping to find 1 million people to contribute $5 to bring the project called Whiskey for the People to life. There's already one in Texas called Crowded Barrel that was funded via Kickstarter. I had considered doing that, but anyway, Olson, who is currently on a tour of whiskey distilleries across the world, is planning on creating whiskey in very innovative ways, quote unquote. Aspirations there, bub. And define a new category of bourbon and rye, more aspiration. After being confronted with spirits company CEOs that treat people, I guess, I don't know, like something, but let's find out. So artiste as they are, Nicola Carruthers over at the spiritsbusiness.com put the article together. They say that it'll be the first member-owned whiskey distillery in the U.S., but hold on. Sorry, I'm doing this live, so I'm going to do this live. Yeah, I don't know what the difference is. Maybe they talk about it maybe they'll talk about it in this, but Crowded Barrel Whiskey Company and its associated whiskey tribe is the first crowdsourced whiskey distillery. And let me just, so that we can actually, it says, beyond funding, our community decides what whiskey gets made and how it gets made, but we don't stop there. This is over at crowdedbarrelwhiskey.com. I've got mayoral duties that I need to attend to, so let me do this. I don't know how they're saying this, but I even think that it was done on Kickstarter. So let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it really quick. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, for sure. Crowded Barrel Whiskey Company was crowdsourced. So this is kind of a weird thing. And where are they doing it? Hold on. They want to do this where? Gosh. Oh, Colorado. So maybe let's just say that it's going to be the first in Colorado, because this doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, investing in the project would provide a 5% discount for life and a tour of the distillery, the Kickstarter explained. So $5? Yeah. I don't know. I'm for a distillery. I'm flagged as a founder, but that's not an investment, and it gets me much more than this, but I paid more. And I support what their effort is. So of course I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, post it in the comments over on YouTube, because there are no comments on Twitch. So anyway, I'm going to move on. The next and our last article for today's show, at least until tonight when we kick off the other episode of ohmTown. Not ohmTown. It used to be called ohmTown Daily News Show. My brain just jumped back in time because I'm in the time machine. Anyway, deep sea dark oxygen raises question about alien life. Over 12,000 feet below the surface of the sea, in a region of the Pacific Ocean known as the Clarion-Clipperton Zone, or CCZ, million-year-old rocks cover the seafloor, and these rocks may have seemed lifeless, but nestled between the nooks and crannies on their surfaces, tiny sea creatures and microbes make their home. and uniquely adapted for life in the dark. Many don't have eyes. Actually, they don't have eyes when they're perpetually in the dark. They don't need them. So Boston University is the source of this, but it's provided by futurity.org. And the discovery is a surprise, considering oxygen is typically created by plants and organisms from with help from the sun, not the rocks on the seafloor. But what has been found is that these dark oxygen producers are electrolyzing the water and producing oxygen and hydrogen, basically ending up just releasing oxygen. So they say this was really weird because no one's ever seen it before, says Jeffrey Marlowe, a Boston University assistant professor of biology and co-author of the study in Nature Geoscience. About half of all of the oxygen we breathe is made near the surface of the ocean by phytoplankton that photosynthesize just like land-dwelling plants. But these are polymetallic nodules, and something is causing them to produce oxygen through a chemical process, not through the sun, not through photosynthesis or some other electrical charging. As an expert in microbes that live in the most extreme habitats on Earth, like hardened lava and deep sea hydrothermal vents, Marlowe initially suspected the microbial activity could be responsible for making oxygen. So then they measured oxygen levels that changed in the chambers over 48 hours. If there's plentiful organisms breathing oxygen, then the levels would normally decline depending on how much animal activity was present in the chamber. But in this case, oxygen was increasing. So yeah, this is something that we've talked about in a different way. They concluded that the phenomenon isn't primarily caused by microbial activity, despite the abundance of many types of microbes both on and inside the rocks. Nope, these are polymetallic nodules that are made of rare metals, including copper, nickel, cobalt, iron, and manganese. This is actually what people are worried about with deep sea mining. You basically want to scrub the seafloor of this to recover the copper, nickel, cobalt, iron, and manganese, but it's actually doing something. It's called seawater electrolysis. And that salt water is probably the key component. Anything that's near it means that metal ions in the rock layers are distributed unevenly, creating a separation of electrical charges, and they basically just electrolyze the water and the seawater, and out pops hydrogen and oxygen. They named it dark oxygen since it's made with no sunlight. There is more about this, so go and check it out. But I'm going to call it quits here and make it a short show. But I think that this is one of the many articles that we really enjoy talking about because it's absolutely a stunning discovery. And with that in mind, we're going to ride along in the oxygen tunnel as it rises up to the surface. And when we pop up onto the surface of the ocean, we will be back at the front page, August 29th, 2024. And I'll shut down the time machine. So thanks very much. I am Mayor Watt. Over there is ohmtown.com, and the sentient AI will be on later tonight if everything works out. So thanks, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Dark oxygen.